Hey everyone, Old Crow Gaming here. I guess this video has kind of been a long time in coming. Um, those of you who know me personally know that I dislike Final Fantasy VII a lot. I can kind of understand why some people like it so much, though. It was their first introduction to Final Fantasy games. For others, it was their first RPG in general, and for still others, the idea of a 3D RPG was mind-blowing at the time. I mean, this was 1997. I can understand those reasons. Do those reasons make it a good game, though? Not really, but that's just, like, my opinion, man. So, now that I've lost a good chunk of my subscribers, and the rest of you are probably ready to crucify me, here are my reasons for not liking Final Fantasy VII. I don't know if this is a translation issue or because of the writing or it just wasn't told very well, but the story in Final Fantasy VII just isn't very good. Granted, it's been a long time since I played it, but does the game bother to explain why Cloud thinks he's Zack? Or does he actually think he's Zack? Is he just pretending? The game really isn't very clear on this. And why exactly does Sephiroth go apeshit in Nibelheim? All I got out of that section of the game was that he saw a severed head, thought it was his mom, went and read some books, and then decided to burn the town down. I mean, dude, I get it, you're angry, but why destroy the whole town? And on the case of Sephiroth. The characters are so bland, and the villain is pathetic. So Sephiroth, as I just mentioned, reads some books after he decided a severed head is his mom, and destroys a town. Okay, that's pretty villainous, I guess, but then he doesn't do anything for the rest of the game. He's just sitting in a crater somewhere praying for a meteor to come. Anytime you see him the rest of the game, it's just Jenova pretending to be him. Why? She couldn't just take on her own form? And if she's not going to bother to look like herself, why bother looking like Sephiroth? That kind of tips the heroes off that he's up to something. I mean, he could have won if she didn't do that. The characters are dull and boring. None of them really stand out, and only maybe two of them have any real character development. In combat, none of them feel unique. None of them have anything that makes them stand out from one another ability-wise. Cloud is mopey and emo. Tifa has boobs. Yuffie's annoying. Red 13's a dog. Wolf. Cat. Native American? I don't know. Barrett's got a gun for a hand, and I guess that's kinda cool, but I will say his little side story with Dyne and Marlene was nice. Vincent, I don't even know what's going on there. A goth, not vampire in a coffin who just wants you to leave him alone. Aerith is barely around long enough to care, and it doesn't really bother explaining why Cloud thinks she's his girlfriend. Sid, dude's got more anger management issues than Bruce Banner, but his story was interesting, I guess. If you can call spousal abuse interesting. And Kate Sith? What was that? The materia system was a neat idea, but ultimately it ends up just being a mess. I get that it's kind of an important MacGuffin for the story, but there's too much reliance on it. I said before that the playable characters have nothing unique about them in combat to make them interesting, and I stand by that. Sure, they all use different weapons and have different limit breaks, but what else do they have? Nothing. Sure, Tifa uses gloves and Vincent has guns, but just how different are these two characters in a fight? Everyone has the fight and item commands, and that's it. So here's where materia comes in. As I said, it's a neat idea, but there's just too much reliance on it. You can't get through the game using just fight and item. So you equip people with materia. Well, now everyone's still bland and samey. No one's distinguished because now everyone still has the same abilities, and you need these other abilities to get through the game. One thing I love about Final Fantasy VI is the Magicite system, but that has the same issue. Once you start having everybody in 6 learn magic, everyone starts to feel the same. The difference is, in Final Fantasy VI, you don't need magic to get through the game, barring one very optional dungeon. Everyone in Final Fantasy VI still has a unique ability that sets them apart from other characters, so you don't need to have everyone learn magic. In Final Fantasy VII, you pretty much have to have everyone learn magic and summons. You need those extra abilities to get through the game, and that makes combat boring. In a sense, I suppose it makes it easier, because it means you can just use whoever you want, but variety is the spice of life. You can use whoever you want in FF6 too, but because they all have their own unique abilities, you can plan fights around that. In FF7, there's no real strategy other than, okay, everyone in my party needs to have this materia. It's just dull and boring and makes the game not very fun to play. Look, I know I just dumped a lot of negativity out there. Let me just say, I do love the Final Fantasy series, even though I haven't played the last few entries. And because I do enjoy Final Fantasy, I can find things that I do like even in the games that I don't like. So, here's a few things that I like about Final Fantasy VII. If it's one thing all Final Fantasy games are known for, it's the music. These games have some of the most beautiful musical scores in any video game, and Final Fantasy VII is no exception. As much as I think Sephiroth is a horrible villain, I have to admit One Winged Angel is a beautifully epic piece of music that's fitting for a final boss. Another thing we've come to expect from Final Fantasy over the years is that it's a series that's constantly reinventing itself and trying new things, even if those things aren't implemented very well. The materia system is one of those things. It was a great idea, it just needed a little refinement. Fleshing the characters out and making them unique so that materia isn't so drastically important would have helped a lot. And the whole materia breeding thing wasn't really necessary. It took away from the uniqueness of certain materia and helped prevent certain characters from being unique. But again, it was a neat idea, and I applaud Square for trying something new. Like I said, these are all just my opinions. I don't expect anybody to take this as gospel, and I'm not saying you shouldn't like this game. If you like it, great, that's fine. Go ahead and like it. I enjoy Final Fantasy, and if you're watching this video, I can only assume that you enjoy it too. So, play the Final Fantasy games you like, and I'll do the same, and I'll see you guys next time.